Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's session on the use of Excel in bank audit, organized by Banking and Financial and Insurance Committee. Friends, as we all know that upcoming days are for bank audit, and it is very crucial for all of us, considering the current scenario, that we should plan the bank audit in very much organized manner. And for that, we have our today's speaker, Mr. Dhananjay Gokhleji, who will highlight about the various tools which can be useful during bank audit. So before starting the session, a very happy new year to all the members. We have today our three CCMs, Rohit Ruvatia ji, Vice Chairman, Digital Reengineering and Transformation Committee, Committee for Development of International Trade, Service and WTO, and Public Relation Committee. I will request CA Rohit Ruvatia ji, Central Council member, to address with his word of wisdom.
Thank you, Lokesh ji. First of all, very good morning to all the participants present over here, and welcome to this beautiful morning with a session on use of Excel in bank audit. I would like to welcome our Chairman of Banking Financial Insurance Committee, Prakash Sharma ji, and my boss, of course. And I would like to welcome Vice Chairman Nanda sir. I would like to welcome our speaker of today's session, Dhananjay Gokhleji, who will be deliberating on the importance and the use of Excel in bank audit. I'm thankful and I welcome Lokesh Kasarji from my own city, the past chairman of Jaipur branch. Probably I'm looking him working day and night for the profession since last 3 years, and I'm happy to see somebody working for the institute for the profession when he's not on the position. So my appreciation to you, Lokesh, and keep your work hard continuously for the profession. And again, friends, today is the session on use of Excel in bank audit. Here I would like to submit, sir. एक आइडिया आया दिमाग के अंदर कि हमको कुछ इस तरीके का प्रोग्राम प्लान करना चाहिए जिसमें प्रैक्टिकली हम लोग समझा सकें. Probably Dhananjay ji will be sharing his Zoom screen and with the live examples so that we can understand how we can use Excel during bank audit. So I would urge all the members present over here to kindly inform your articles also, if possible. They can view this session because it will be helpful for them as well. Secondly, I'm thankful to Prakash Sharma ji, who has given me an opportunity that I just discussed an idea with him to hold a session on this topic, and he immediately said, yes, it is very important. We should immediately plan this session before the bank audit start. So friends, this time it is really very important for all of us to be very serious while conducting the bank audit, sir. Because from the confidentiality report, it has been observed that a very good number of returns, very good numbers of audit report are submitted in such a way where there are nil MOCs. So probably the Reserve Bank of India has considered the reason of reducing the advances to be covered for the bank branch audit. It started from rupees 3 crore advances to 6 crore advances, then 6 crore to 20 crore advances, then to 90% advances, and then now it has come to 80% advances. And in the meanwhile, it's proposed that it will reduce year on year. But here, this time it is important for us to be very serious while performing, because we have to ensure and no pressure on us should work, and we should be very cautious and with pure ethics we have to perform without taking any pressure on us. अगर किसी भी तरह का कोई भी प्रॉब्लम आपको कहीं भी फेस ऑफ हो रहा हो तो प्लीज फील फ्री टू कनेक्ट द कमिटी, because this committee specially work on the issues related to bank audit. And मैं आप सब लोगों से वापस पुनः निवेदन है कि we have to prove ourselves, we have to perform in such a way that the importance of bank audit is established by all of us in performing our duties as well. So again, I'm very thankful to you and welcome to all the participants. I'm sure by this session you will certainly gain the important aspect to be understood while performing bank audit with the help of Excel. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit ji, for your words. They are really motivating, and we are sure enough that the working of all CCM together will bring the benefits for the member only. So now we have the Vice Chairman of the committee, CS Nanda sir, again a motivator and a chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board also. So we all are here, sir, to hear you with your words of wisdom, sir.
A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I have here with me the chairman of Banking, Insurance and Pensions Committee, CA Prakash Sharma ji. Along with him is another young, dynamic council colleague from Jaipur, CA Rohit Ruwatia ji, the moderator of the session, CA Lokesh Kasat ji, and more importantly, the well identified faculty for the subject, CA Dhananjay Gokhale ji, and secretary to the committee, Madam Sonali Haldar ji. Ladies and gentlemen, bank audit is something that has very glamorous propositions in the life of chartered accountant firms. The season of bank audit is like Diwali season. People start preparing early. They start creating teams who have to do that. They start training them. So in this direction, the committee thought it fit to hold a program on Excel as a use in bank audit. And we could not identify some better faculty than Dhananjay Gokhale ji. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that I chair the Internal Audit Standard Board and DAB, Digital Accounting and Assurance Board. DAB primarily deals with technology and its impact on auditing, and more importantly, on forensic. So when it comes to auditing, technology is very paramount. Technology will always change the entire face of your findings. What we do with ticking, what we do with pens and pencils, technology will ensure that you have the best of the results. Excel particularly will ensure that you have the best of the results within minutes. And the most important thing which I want to tell you, there is a saying that people never plan to fail. They generally fail to plan. So if planning is not proper, audit will not be done in the right esteem. I want to tell you very candidly that the chartered accountant is taken at a larger esteem by the public and by the regulators. You are aware that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India was set up by an act of parliament way back on 1st July 1949, when the most important document to the democracy, the constitution, was not adopted. You are all well aware that the constitution to this great country was adopted on 26 January 1950. The pertinent question that arises is, what prompted the Constituent Assembly to set up an Institute of Chartered Accountants of India when even the constitution was not promulgated? They had certain expectations from us, and we are doing this. There is somebody inside. Hello?
I suppose, Sonali ma'am, please you mute your speaker.
So, ladies and gentlemen, in this direction, we thought it fit to hold a program. And I want to tell you, when the question comes to RBI, somehow there is a feeling that we are not performing. And on the other side, we are using our best officers and efforts to move to the right direction. And when it comes vis-a-vis Reserve Bank of India, I am reminded of a couplet which I would like to share with you. The couplet is, पत्थरों को शिकायत है कि पानी की मार से टूट रहे हैं हम. पत्थरों को शिकायत है कि पानी की मार से टूट रहे हैं हम, और पानी का गिला है कि ये पत्थर हमें खुलकर बहने नहीं देते. It is a story of both sides, but we as chartered accountants have to excel and give our best so that we all are able to perform unifiedly to take the institute to unprecedented heights. I wish you great luck in times to come. I am very happy that your indulgence and working will ensure that our professional services are given up to the highest level and the flag of our institute keeps flying at unprecedented heights. Thank you. Thanks for giving me this opportunity, Prakash ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So it was really an honor, and rightly said, sir, that planning is one of the most important part during the bank audit season. And in this session, we will also learn that how planning with the use of Excel can be the dangerous thing for banks also. So now we have the chairman of the committee, CA Prakash Sharma sir. And he is also a chairman of committee for member in practice, and member definitely wants to hear to him about the latest updates and about the latest things which are going to happen. Over to you, Prakash sir.
Good morning, respected co-chairman of this committee, Nandaji, but chairman of very, very important board, that is Digital Accounting Assurance Board. And I can assure my all participants over here that within very few years, this board will be even important than accounting and audit board, the way it is taking place. My another colleague in the council, Rohit Ruhatiaji, in whose initiation we have kept this session, although we have kept last year also. I was thinking in this year whether we should keep it or not, because due to new guidelines by Reserve Bank of India, wherein, as Rohit Ruhatiaji also mentioned, that 80% of advances only has to be covered. So more than 50% branches in all the banks have reduced for audit. So that is the biggest challenge for us this year. It also indicates whether in future, what will be the future of PSU banks for getting audit done by different branch auditors in the banking sector. Friends, in the banking sector, mainly 3 softwares are used, that is Finacle, Swift, and blockchain. Finacle is basically most important. Either Finacle or SBI is having another software of SBI. These are the only 2 software which are prevailing in the Indian banking system. There is another software, that is Swift, which is used from dealing one bank by another bank, in which that Modi scam took place few years back. And thirdly is blockchain. Now, day by day, blockchain is entering very fast in all the system of the society, including business also. So now all LCs will be dealing by blockchain system only. At the same time, within very few months, we are going to have 5G technology in our country. And the effect of 5G technology will be very, very serious. Our lots of compliances work will be vanished, because after use of this 5G technology, things will be at least 10 times faster than present circumstances. And most of the things which government already will be having with them, they will not like to have compliances from we professionals. At the same time, let me share with you, just on 19th of March, I was in Bombay with the IDBI Bank, and they had come out for development of a software. In that software, they have got 500 points which are covered by either internal auditor or by concurrent auditor or by a statutory auditor. So they are developing a software in which more than 500 points which we auditor cover, that software will be covering. And for those points, they will not require any kind of auditor, whether it may be ASM, or it may be a statutory auditor, or it may be a concurrent auditor, or it may be a revenue auditor. They will not require any help. Their software will be in a position to give them all those information which they require. We have to realize, due to system changes and conditions in the market, Reserve Bank of India has come out with 2 very important audit sector in the banking sector. That is ASM audits. That is for all those accounts which are having exposure in one bank or by combining all the banks, 250 crores. So they are required to have ASM audit regularly. And that is another very big area for we all professionals. At the same time, if any account we are having exposure of more than 50 crores, forensic audit is required. So these 2 audits are going to play a very big role in banking sector. Fee size also will be reasonably far better than the audit fees which we are getting in statutory audit as well as in concurrent audit. Although ED Sahab and Deputy Governor Sahab both had promised us in last year to our virtual conferences that they are going to increase fees of bank branch statutory auditors, but we are waiting till date. We have not received any communication from Reserve Bank of India that when they are going to increase the fees. Friends, last year in the month of March in end, there was circular by FCA that if your assessee is a company and you have to mention if there is any changes in the accounting software of that client, you have to report that audit trail in your audit report. That circular was postponed for 1 year. Again, this year also, that circular has been postponed for 1 year. But my simple request is, please, we should understand that profession is going in what direction. What I want to share with you that in coming time, our all financial audits will become system audit or security audit. That will be mainly done by the professionals. So we have to understand the software part. We have to understand Excel for doing any kind of audit. So at the same time, let me share with you that at institute level, we are coming out with 4 software for our members. That also at free of cost. Very soon we are coming to you with those software, and we will be giving you training also that how to use those software. So my sincere request to all of you, please, please, please accept those software and start using those software. In future, if we will not be able to use these type of softwares, it will be very difficult for us to be in the profession. So my sincere request, please, the software which we are coming out at the institute level for our members, please start using that. And we have to do audits using all those softwares. I will not take much of the time. Dhananjay is here with us, who is one of the best speakers on this subject. So my sincere request to him to cover this topic, which is very, very important, exactly at the time when our members are ready to start the bank audit. I'm very sure that they will be explaining us in very detailed and in very simple way. So my all best wishes to all of you. And last, happy new Indian year. बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं आप सब लोगों को नए साल की. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Over to Lokesh.
Thank you, sir. So correctly said that if we will not keep us update, and it is applicable to all professions, that if we are not keeping us update, we will soon get out of it. So repeating the word of Prakash sir and requesting all members to keep update themselves about the latest trends, latest softwares. So now it's time that we should have our speaker, Mr. Dhananjay Gokhale. I would just want to share his brief profile. He is a chartered accountant qualified in the year 2012, having a DSA qualification, FAFD, and a certified ethical hacker under EC Council. In his professional life, he has worked with MP Chitale and Company. He has worked with Spandon Hurt Hospital as a consultant with a profile of costing analysis of hospital and managing accounting team. He has served as functional consultant in the Office Box Software Private Limited with profile of development of web-based ERP module. His partner in Kedar Gokhale and Company from the year 2015 to 17, and he is a BI developer also. Talking about the training part, he has delivered more than 50 plus webinar on Finacle report, import, export, Excel, and cloud-based office management in organization like VMA, Connect Easy, ICAI, Amravati, and various areas. He has delivered 15 plus physical session in various branches of ICAI and delivered 80 plus session as a contributory faculty in various colleges, in various, I will say, esteemed colleges. He has wrote articles on information technology related topics in various journals. He is having his own YouTube channel also with the name of Excel Kida and a website excelkida.com for a free Excel and IT related technique which are helpful for a chartered accountant. He has conducted system audits and migration audit of cooperative banks with various CA firms, developed a free of cost Excel add-ins of chartered accountants and data analytics. He had developed running websites with free utilities for chartered accountant for generation of GSTR 9C with a handy browser extension. He had developed and running open support project for loading tele data into database server for advanced data analytics. And so we have very much hope with you that with this session, a member will able to know that how a CA can use Excel in a proficient manner during the time of bank audit. So I welcome today's speaker, CA Dhananjay Gokhleji.
So thank you, the entire BFSU community for giving me this opportunity, and especially Rohit sir. I call him as an opportunity man. And Charanjot Singh Nanda sir is something I have always been from childhood or say studenthood. I have seen him. We always used to see him as a mentor of him. So it's great pleasure to share, not I will say a dais, but now an online this thing with him. So let me start with directly with the topic. So I would first start by creating some background. So there is a popular term I always used to hear in the audit, that auditor is just a watchdog, not a bloodhound. So when I used to study, I also used to think that. But now, even after the post-COVID and this current scenario, I have started doubting this, that whether this thing needs a revision or not. So I would not say I think that we are now, we have to be a bloodhound, but yes, for sure that watchdogs has to now look even beyond that. And especially with technology coming into the light, our watchdog's responsibility has purely actually increased. So I will start with, so basically one more thing, I have no PPT, I will be directly demonstrating some practical things. So the software I used, so basically I have worked with banks wherein financial reports were available to me. And one thing I have always seen, so means even with my CA friends, I have noticed one thing, that when a CA always go to banks, he says that please give us reports in Excel format. So let me please make you aware, not all the CBS would be having every report in Excel format. So please don't expect that everything should come in Excel. So basically we chartered accountants are very much fond of Excel, and we think that yes, everything, all data comes in Excel. No. In the technology world, there is a concept called flat file or text dumps. So majority of the data generally comes in a text dumps. Now, what is text dump? I'm going to show you. Don't worry. And I use Excel and no other tool. And this session would be again an eye opener for one more concept, which is tied up with Excel. Called so now being from a multinational company, US based. Some terminologies are very much popular there in US. So let me introduce you with some of those techniques, which I thought let us even borrow from them. Maybe it would be even useful for us. So year 2010 to 15 saw a great advancement in the data analytics. So Excel has not remained Excel which used to be. So there is a concept which is growing much importance called ETL, extract, transform, and load. What is that concept? You will be seeing in the demonstration. So this concept is very widely used. So consider this technique as something equivalent of macros. Now, one unfortunate thing I have seen, so for majority of the CA, Excel stops at VLOOKUP and macros. So I'm very annoyed by this. No, Excel doesn't stop at VLOOKUP and macros. And please don't consider VLOOKUP and macros as something very advanced thing. The advanced thing is a ETL. This is a new concept which is growing, and uh, uh, according to me, every chartered accountant should know this concept. And it is a very easy concept. Only the thing is that maybe our chartered accountant are not much exposed to that concept. So I even intend to cover that concept, which is there itself in the Excel. Only the thing is that majority of our CA community is not. Okay, so let me start by sharing my screen and directly start with our demonstration. So for better bandwidth, I will turn off my video. Uh, Lokesh sir, just let me know if my voice is clear or I need to boost it.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, so I will start by sharing my screen and I will require a feedback. So if my screen, sir, is my screen
Yes, sir.
visible or I
Yes,
need
sir.
to
Visible,
zoom
sir.
it?
Visible.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so let's start with our demonstration. So we are not going to perform any rocket science today. It is a very simple thing. Maybe would try zooming my screen a bit. So let me try. Okay, now this looks good. Now I have been asked one question very much, that how to get reports. So the very first thing, so please keep in mind, there is a login called auditor login. And let me tell you, in my 4 years of bank audit, I have never logged in using that login, because chartered accountants have one super login, which is available to every auditor. So just sit in front of bank manager and you can request them, because I have seen auditor login lacking many of the reports which we require for the audit. So always request branch manager for any of the files, and please make sure that you insist branch manager to email those files, because audit evidence starts from there. I have seen few of the CAs just simply performing audit directly in the banking computer which is allocated the branch. So my question is that your complete audit evidence and reporting is there, and tomorrow after 4 or 5 years, let's say that computer gets formatted, where is that evidence? We don't have any evidence in our office. So always keep an audit evidence, and the best way to get an audit evidence is get those file which you require emailed. Okay, so I requested one of my branch managers. So mostly consider this today's session as a case study. So it is not possible to cover each and everything. So I have taken a small cash credit account as a case study, and let's evolve this case study and build up on this and cover all those ETL techniques and some advanced techniques of Excel. So I requested one of my branch manager to kindly email me a CC account. So the very first thing he said, sir, it is not coming in Excel. It is coming in a format called RPT. So Finacle generates, Finacle or not necessarily Finacle, even Banks 24 and all those softwares generates file in the format text. It is called text dump. Now the issue is that you cannot directly open this RPT or TXT or this file. So there is a software called Notepad++. This is the best friend of CA. This is a software called Notepad, but it is even powerful than our normal Windows Notepad. And let me tell you, this is available for free. And it has many advanced capabilities. So if you just Google Notepad++, so this is a totally open source and free software and very lightweight, no licensing required. Just install it, and after that you can very easily open any of the files. Just right click it and open with Notepad++. So this is a dummy. So let me start with a disclaimer. This is a dummy statement. All the names, amounts have been changed from the original one. So I just requested branch manager to email me. So he said that, sir, this file doesn't open. I told, email me, I will take care of that. So just install a software called Notepad++. It can open any of the text dump files very easily. Okay, now you cannot start directly with this. So our today's activity is that demonstrating red flags in this, and if time permits, I will also show you how you can identify cash credit means interest transaction, how to remove those, and again recalculate CC account interest. Again, if time permits, mostly I would be focusing more on the red flags, which always will help you to pick up the right file. So the funda of today's session is that get 4 to 5 CC account. You can pick randomly, email to you as audit evidence, and just start digging into those CC file, and we will check for any red flags available. Now, for any analysis, we need this thing in Excel, and I don't think this thing you can directly get in Excel. So now, how to convert this in Excel or import it in Excel? So let me demonstrate. So I always use legal version of Excel, and I will insist you to use always genuine Excel. So the most preferred one is generally Office 365. Even I am using that Office 365 version of Excel. And let me demonstrate you. It has an excellent features, and it is very cheap. I don't find any tool in the range of 5,000 with so much capabilities. Let me tell you. And Office 365 is just not Excel. It is Excel plus an ETL tool embedded in it called PowerQuery. And I guess many of our CA colleagues are not aware of this ETL tool, which is embedded PowerQuery. Okay. So in Office 365 or maybe in Office 2019, I can see this menu. You will find a menu called data. Data is there in all the version of Excel. But there is one special menu in Office 2019 or 365 called Get Data, and a menu called Launch Power Query Editor. Okay, so Power Query is an ETL. ETL means extract, transform, and load. Let me write that thing for you. Some handy notes. ETL means extract, transform, and load. So we are going to extract an Finacle or any of the account statement, Finacle dump. Then we are going to transform. That means clean and process it. Clean and process it so that it appears as a bank statement, which is analyzable, and we are going to load it into Excel. So Excel has a ETL tool called Power Query, which can extract from any of the sources. So in this example, I am going to take Finacle dump. You can even apply this technique even for the bank's 24 generated file or any of the text dumps. Even from SAP, if you export, you can follow the same process. We are going to transform or some cleanup or some adjustment of the data, and then we are going to finally load it in Excel, and from there I will take it into the Excel, and we would start our red flag analysis or normal analysis. Okay, so let me make you aware with this ETL tool called Power Query. So Power Query is not a separate software. It is a software which comes embedded in Office 2016, 19, and Office 365 has always an advanced version of Power Query. And this resides here, launch Power Query Editor. So let me click and launch it. And let me tell you, this you don't have to purchase it separately since it is a part of Excel. Okay, so let me start by importing some file. So I will say new source file, and it is a txt file, text dump, txt or csv. It is not csv. In my case, I have a text dump. So I will call it as a text file. So naturally, you will not be able to see this file because our current file has extension called rpt, a report file. Okay. So naturally, I will have to click all the files. Okay, now we can see it. And let us click import. Okay, so we are start with the import process. Let me click OK. Okay, now by default, you have to delimit this into columns. Now, many of my CA friends told me that, Dhananjay, why are you using this version of Excel? In older version, you directly see a option called text to column, and you can very easily mark the columns. You can delimit it using columns. But let me tell you, this is an ETL tool. It always records, okay, always records the steps I am performing, just like record macros, but it is even an advanced technique. Macros requires a programming or technical knowledge. ETL tool doesn't require. It is a very natural language thing, which you can perform mostly graphically. If at all required, you can simply write some very simple scripting, which is almost equivalent to Excel. Okay, so first we will have to delimit it or split it into multiple columns. So again, let me open this via Notepad++. So I will right click and open it with Notepad++. Now let us first identify the column endings. So I need to tell PowerQuery that where my column, date column ends, where my particular or check column ends, withdrawal, deposit, balance. Okay, so there is a thumb rule, a global level thumb rule, I will say, that amount and dates are always right aligned. You will never see an amount central aligned, or if you even see, that is a very bad practice. So all amounts are always right aligned. Just take a printout of any of your bank statement. You will always see amounts right aligned. So amounts and dates are always right aligned. And remaining thing, that means text is always left aligned. So we can very easily find out where our withdrawal column ends, where our deposit column ends, and where our balance column is ending, and even date. And as such, I don't have any value of check number, because check number is not very significant for our analysis. We are mostly interested in this narration or particulars for the red flags. It doesn't matter whether transaction is done via check or RTGS. That is just a mode of transaction. So very insignificant for our today's analysis. So I will consider this complete thing as a single column. Okay, so let us identify our column endings. And the beauty of this Notepad++ is that it tells that where my cursor is. So my cursor is at column COL 11. That means date column ends at column number 11. And it starts with column number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, now I need to tell PowerQuery. So PowerQuery is basically recording my steps, that what transformation or what processing I'm doing. And once these steps get recorded, I can process hundreds of CC account dumps in one click using this recorded steps. So it can perform this automatically. It is an automation automation solution, you can call it. ETL is a. Okay, so let me tell it that I want to split this thing into multiple columns. So I will go to transform, and in transform, you will find an option called split columns. So split column by position. Okay, so we can see a prompt like this. Okay, now Excel says that your the first start of the cursor, I will consider it as a 0 and kindly give me a comma separated column ending. So please start with 0 and give me a comma separated column ending list, that where your column ends. Okay, let me tell you. So we'll start with 0. Then they will say that where my date column ends. Now the issue is that Notepad starts with 1. It doesn't have column 0. Whereas Power Query says that your first cursor at the left, I will count it as a 0. So I always have to reduce 1 when I'm writing in Power Query. So my date column ends at position number 11. That means for Power Query -1, 10. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so date column was split. Let me remove this recorded step. I can remove specific step and let us do it for all the columns. So date column ends here. Okay, now we will consider this as a single column. So our check number ends here. So column number 74, that means 73, 10, comma 73, comma, let us identify this. So withdrawal columns end at position number 92, that means 91 for us, 91, then deposit column at 110. Okay, so 91, 110, let me punch those. 91, comma 110, comma. Now one issue is that balance column always contains a sign, debit or credit. Okay, now Excel doesn't understand debit or credit. It will say that I understand only positive and negative. So you tell me what you want, positive or negative. So let us split even the balance into 2. So I will split this into 2. So at the position number 129 and 129, and my last column ends at debit or credit 131. Okay, 131. Okay, let us verify our results. Okay, one extra column, I think I can remove last one, debit credit. You can always remove one recorded step, 1 or 2 recorded step. Okay, great. So we have delimited this thing. And please note, Power Query, okay, this ETL tool is generating a recorded steps or automation steps of whatever I'm doing. So first it started with this, then I told that split column by position, then Excel tried to derive that what is the type of data this column is containing, but probably this data contains junk. So in real sense, I don't require this rows. I don't require any UTR number, sender bank, sender branch. No, this is not required. We are just interested in this row of transaction, whether it is deposit or withdrawal. We are just interested in this. So the extract process is over. So extract is over. Now starts our transform, which is called cleanup, or few in US they called it as sanitization, data sanitization. In India, we can call it as a cleanup process. And after that, some processing. In US, they call it as a transform altogether. So now let us get, so first I will give the column header. Now, you know, the date column is always repeated because this is a multi-page statement. Okay, so this is something, the statement is something from a printer format, which it is fed to dot matrix printer or laser printer. So we will always need to get rid of all this garbage rows. Okay, so let us identify our garbage rows. So you may have either a positive approach wherein you will reduce the means you will remove the rows which are not required, or negative approach. So now there is one thumb rule in account statement that every transaction will have a date. Every transaction will have a date. So other than date, which if there is a blank or something written like this, then for sure this is a garbage row for us. This is a garbage row for us. So I will apply that thumb rule. Okay, I will apply that thumb rule. So first, let us rename our column, because after removing this garbage rows, all the column headers would go away. So before I remove the column headers, let me name it properly. Date. Okay, so you can double click here and rename. Narration, you can write any name. Withdrawal, deposit, then this is balance, and let's call it as ERCR, debit credit. Okay, and let us tell PowerQuery that this date column should be having data of which type? Date, number, text. So ETL tool understands only specific data called data type. It understands either the column can have date, number, or text. Date, number of text. So we need to tell our ETL tool that this column, date column, would be containing what. So please note, our Power Query is recording the steps. So I renamed the column. So it recorded a step, automation step, that yes, I took a file, then I split it into this column endings, then I renamed the column names. Now next step, it will create that I will enforce data types, that this column should always contain a date. Other than that, if you find it, error it or treat it as a garbage. So I will say that format this column as date, not even date time, date. Okay. Format this column so it is already in text. ABC means text. Perfect. Withdrawal, deposit, and balance. So shift and I will hold on, select this. This always need to be as a decimal number. Decimal number. And again, this would be text. Now please notice, other than that, if there is a blank, it will say null. Null means no data. And here it failed to convert text into date because this is an erroneous thing. Okay, this is an erroneous. This cannot be interpreted as a date. Okay, it is not in DD, MM, YY format. So we got error. Now the next step we are going to perform is that we are going to instruct our Power Query that kindly get rid of this error. So now we need to remove the errors. Unless and until you don't get rid of the error rows, you cannot proceed. So let us instruct Power Query to kindly convert this error to null. Okay. So that this red thing would go from the date. So I will select this column, and in the replace values, there is, if you click on the drop down, you will say that replace error with. So I will say null. That means treat this as a blank, as if there is no date here. Okay, again, one step recorded. Okay, now I can safely tell Power Query that any row other than null should be retained and all the null rows should be removed. All the null rows should be removed. So I will create one filtering step. Okay, please notice that Excel is adding up the steps. So So Lokesh sir, screen is perfectly visible or any errors now? I will keep on asking you for the feedback. Lokesh sir, is my voice and screen perfectly audible and visible?
Yes, sir, it's perfect, sir. It's perfect.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, now the next step is important, which is called cleanup or sanitization step, where we will tell Power Query that remove the unnecessary rows, filter the out unnecessary rows. So I'm going to apply a filter, which is called not equal to, or maybe what you can do, you can just untick null from here. So all the remaining rows would stay. That means the rows wherein dates are there would stay. So let me click OK. Okay, so all the remaining rows. So now the perfect we have. So all the transaction rows are remaining. All the remaining rows are garbage rows, let's call it, are gone. Now, one more thing. We need to write 0 here because there is no concept called null or blank. It should be 0 because we are analyzing this. So number field should always have some number. And if it is blank, it should have 0 so that our sum function can perfectly perform, or maybe your pivots will perfectly works after this. So let me select these two columns and tell Power Query that kindly replace, now this time not errors, this time values. So wherever you find null written here, kindly substitute it with 0. So all the null have gone and 0. Now naturally, Excel doesn't understand debit and credit. So it's up to you that what you want to treat as a plus and what you want to treat minus. So since it is a CC account, and CC account, as you know, always appears on the asset side. So my debit should be positive because most of the time, generally, or thumb rule, CC account always has a debit balance. Hardly you will see a CC account underutilized or going to credit side. So let us apply that thumb rule. So if I see a debit, I should have a plus sign here. But if I see a credit, then it should depict it as a minus. So let me rename this. So let me put underscore in front of this. And now I will add one more column called balance. So this is not a real balance or true balance. It is a balance, but again, if it is debit or credit, still it will be appearing as a plus. So this will affect our pivot calculations, okay, or some formula. So I will convert it to plus minus. I will remove debit credit totally and convert it to plus and minus. So I will add one more column, custom column. So this is a one-time setup. Okay, so please don't think that it is so tedious. We are doing this just for a once. We are recording steps. So balance. What is my balance? So my balance is if the debit credit, if you click here, if this column contains CR, credit written here, then, and this one is a very cleaner than Excel syntax, I found it. Then kindly multiply this balance with -1. That means make it negative. Otherwise, else treat it as a positive. Treat it as a positive, which is a default value. Okay, now unfortunately, I don't have any credit sign, but it will take care of this. Okay. Perfect. Now I don't require this two column. So I will select this and right click and remove this column. So to avoid confusion. And let me tell Power Query that this contains a decimal number. Okay. So we are done with this. So let me give this statement. Let's say CC account 01. I can import multiple accounts. So let me say it is a CC account number 01. You can write your actually borrower's name here and let us click. So our steps of extract and transform are over. And now the final step. So Power Query would transferring this output to Excel. That I have done my processing. Now you take it and you take on from here. So we will tell Power Query now we are done with this. Kindly close and load it to Excel. So this might seem a very long, but let me tell you, this is recorded. Okay, all these steps are recorded just like you record macros, but it is recorded in a very cleaner way. So let me save this. Let's say I keep this on my desktop. Okay, so this is our output. Let's say another CC account comes to you. You can very easily in one shot, you can swap this another CC account. What you have to do, just go to the data, click on the get data, launch Power Query editor, and you can just simply go back to any of the steps. Okay, you can simply go to the first step and click on the setting icons. And there you can simply browse another CC file. And after that, Power Query would be performing this step one by one, and again producing the output and loading it to your Excel. So you have an option, your two options, either make separate file for each CC account so that you have all the related analysis here, and just let's say you make a copy and you have another CC account. What you have to do, just go to get data, launch Power Query editor, and tell your ETL tool to load a separate file, different file in the second copy. So assume that I'm creating copies of this file based borrower wise. So I just have to, in the new one, I just have to browse the fresh Finacle report, and remaining step would be automatically performed. Because the funda behind this is that the CBS in CBS generally will not. So let's say you are doing this for one bank. So it is for sure that that bank CC account statement will always have date, let's say 10 characters, then particulars and check number, this character. So generally this column position would not change. It might change from bank to bank based on the Finacle settings or Banks 24 settings. But for multiple CC account, these settings or column index will never change. And even these things, cumulative totals, date, all these things would never change for other CC account. Only the transactions would keep on changing. So the remaining steps of transformation would always be preserved. So it is like a program. You have indirectly, we have made a program to convert a text dump of Finacle into a Excel analyzable thing. Now I don't have one more CC account. So I'm just having a single CC account because it will again take time. So this way we have transformed it. Now from here, our next activity starts, called identification of red flags. Identification of red flags. So let me first format it a bit, comma formatted. Now let us identify red flags here. Sorry. Okay, now let's start analyzing this. So I will simply zoom this a bit so that you have good visibility. Now, one red flag, as you can see on the screen, since this is not an interactive session wherein audience is front, generally I take in that format. So let me start by identifying some red flags. So if I put a filter on the deposit, so let us filter out the deposit transactions. Okay, I will temporarily hide withdrawal transactions. So I will say wherever there is not zero in deposits, okay, and click OK. Now one red flag is that how can the deposits or checks or transfers, NFT transfer, be in the whole amount? Let's say Amrut is our debtor. So rarely it happens that our debtor will pay in the exact whole number amount. Generally, when we issue sell invoice, so again that amount after adding GST or let's say VAT would always comes in some odd amount. For sure, it would not come in round amount. So this can be a red flag that why a round number transaction. See, like this mega bazaar future, this is something, this seems normal. So even see this from a forensic angle. Okay, let's even watch it from a forensic angle so that we can identify whether to pick up file and or not. So this gives me some red flags that no, how can this happen? Okay, now one more thing I notice in this, there are just few parties. Okay, there are just few parties in this. And consider the CC amount. It is almost around to 7 crores. And I can see just transaction with 4 or 5 debtors. Let's say Radha Enterprises, Amrut Industrials, Adina Traders. So I can see just name of few parties here. And that too in round amount. Okay, so let me start some red flags. So one red flag identified that transactions are in whole number, not whole number, round amount in lakhs, mostly in lakhs. Okay, or sorry, in thousands. Let me call it in thousands. Then again, 4 to 5 parties I can see as a debtors. Mostly dealing with 4 to 5 customers only, I will say. And one more red flag. Let me identify you one more red flag. Okay, just notice I have transaction literally every day. Okay, literally every day I have transaction. On third, I had deposits from means credits coming from Adina Traders. Again on fifth, then again on even second. So I can see a frequent transactions. Okay, I can see a very frequent transactions with the same parties. So these are, let us write this. Frequent transactions mostly with same parties. Okay, now let us analyze our withdrawal side. I'll unhide the deposit side. Okay, so just 1 or 2 vendors, Hariom Traders, and apart from that, just Marco Carbide. Just 2 vendors. I don't see any reason to have only 2 vendors. Transaction with 2 vendors, and again that to win whole numbers for in thousands, multiples of thousands or lakhs. Again, this is something red flags, or actually I'm preparing in my audit evidence. Okay, my audit evidence and analysis is that what I found when I was inspecting this bank statement, so that I can pinpointedly pick up this file and look for specific things. So mostly two vendors. So this is again a red flag. Okay, now let me show you one more red flag which I've found. So let us find the highest and lowest value in this. So let's say balance. So let me do this in another sheet. Analysis. So my, let's say balance high, balance, highest balance, and balance low. What was my lowest balance? Okay. So is equal to highest amount of balance in this entire transaction. And please note, now you don't have a cell reference because this is a specially table from a Power Query. So there is no concept of now sheet there. There is a concept, no concept of, sorry, cells and rows. It considers this as a table. So CC account is a table with any number of rows. It can keep on changing from account statement to account statement. So it said that what is the highest balance. And again, I will copy paste this. And here I will say, instead of max, say what is the lowest balance. So you can see mostly, so it is a 7 crore sanction limit, and mostly they play within the range. So there is a very range. So our sanction amount for our limit is 7 crore. So hardly they play in this limit. So they remain in this, sorry, limit minus 7 crores and this minus. So there is hardly range of 30 lakhs. So mostly this account always remains overdrawn. Okay. So let's say there are 346, 345 transactions. And let's say what period or what transaction the account remained overdrawn. So I will say the balance went greater than 7 crores. Okay, so balance not largely remained overdrawn, but mostly they played with this limit. So as if this amount is never to be written. So I can see this mostly they keep it within the range of 6,85,000 to 7,15,000. Okay. Now let us try to catch one more red flag. So I will say CC account remains mostly to limit to the maximum or sanction maximum limit. I don't see any intention to reduce the credit debit balance of this or repayment. It is clear-cut siphoning of funds. Okay, now one more red flag I will show you. There can be parties which are appearing on the withdrawal and debit deposit side, both which are data related. Let's analyze if there are any parties. So on the withdrawal side, mostly I have found two, on the withdrawal side, I mostly found a party called Marco and Hariom Traders. Okay, Marco and Hariom Traders. So let us try to find this name in the deposit side also. So I will first apply amount filter. Marco and Hario. Let me try finding this name. Marco. Okay, the Marco carboids always even appears in the deposit sides. So again, an analysis. Marco debit summation, and Marco part is credit summation. So I'm identifying individual party wise if there are any window dressing transactions. So let us have a debit and credit summation of Marco. Okay, so on the deposit side, okay, I can see, so on the credit side, I can see a summation of 71,05,680. So let's assume 71 lakhs around. And on the credit side, sorry, on the credit side it was. And on the withdrawal side, I can see on the withdrawal side, I can see Marco debit summation coming to 288, 299,000. 288, 299,000. Okay, so effectively Marco has withdrawn or siphoned out this much funds minus this. They have transferred this fund to some different undertaking. I think it's 288, 29, sorry. Okay, effectively 2 crores have been siphoned from this account in the year. So what next we did? We just asked the branch manager to email us financial dump of Marco carbide. And before that, we made a good analysis that what are the parties or so we started identifying probable related properties that might not be a related party. So Marco carbide was one of the party which we were trying to establish. Okay, so let me remove the filters from here. We go to data, clear all the filters, and let me see on the deposit side which are the parties wherein you see most of the transactions. Okay, Adinath. So dealings, let us capture the dealings from the Marco. So from Marco, we have effectively this withdrawal, then Adinath. From Adinath, sorry, I can effectively see deposits coming around to figure 83,26,000, 83,26,000. Then one more party I found, Radha Enterprises. Okay, Radha Enterprises. So if I sum up this, 66 lakhs. And one more party I can see, Amrut Industrials. So let me search for a keyword called Amrut. Okay, transactions, deposit summation is 67,55,000. 67,55,000. Okay, so if we add up, except Marco, if we add up this thing, okay, so effectively they deposited 2 crores 16 lakh and they even withdraw 2 lakh 17. Then we started looking into the account statement of all these 4 parties to establish if they were actually related or parties of the same owners. And later on, we found that these were the proprietorship or partnership concerns of the same group. So maybe this was bigger brother. Then younger brother used to operate a company called Marco Carbide. Then again, he had a proprietorship by name Amrut Industrial, and then we tracked on that it is just a window dressing. They are simply withdrawing and depositing funds. And they are literally, this is a sort of tri-party. They are simply cycling out the funds and trying to boost debit and credit summation. Okay, they are simply trying to boost credit submissions to show that account has a transaction. And in reality, all these were not doing any business. They were simply transferring funds from Marco. Marco was transferring to Adinath, Radhe Enterprises, and Amrut. And again, Amrut again used to deposit this fund in this party's account. This was a third concern. So this way you can analyze many red flags using Excel. And again, what came to our help was, so in our case, we had to almost pull out 6 to 7 account statement. Okay, five or one more party is there, which I missed. So we had to pull up all this party account statement. So this Power Query helps you here. This Power Query is literally going to help you, because if you are in the 3 or 4 days of audit, doing this complete analysis is very difficult. So always Power Query is going to help it out. So we just literally made the copies of this file. Then I simply browsed here, Financial dump statement of Adinath, then financial dump statement of Amrut's, like that. And then we totally analyze this. So this is a very powerful tool. Power Query is a very powerful tool which comes to our help. And please notice that it is a very simplistic. I have not written even single coding statement. It is simple layman's statement. They say I removed the columns, I added the column. So it is just making an automation step which are reusable. So this is the power of our Power Query. And this is something, and you can also import multiple statement in the same Excel file. So let me show you. So if I launch Power Query Editor, I can even make copy of this specific automation step also. Instead of making multiple Excel file, you can even make copies of multiple account statement so that all the account statements are there in a single Excel file. So if you just right click here and click duplicate, I can just rename this to account statement 02 or the name of the borrower. And you can go to this step and browse some different account statement of Marco and let's say Adinath Trader, Amrut Traders. And you can keep on loading the multiple account statements. So if I click close and apply now, since I'm again referring to the same account statement, so it is, you can see a multiple copy of it made. But in reality, when you browse another account statement, it will again run all the ETL steps and fetch you the account statement of this. So all the related parties account statement you can pull up in the single Excel file, and you can do analysis something like this, which serves as our audit documentation. And using this, so let me tell you, using this analysis, we were able to detect fraudulenting. So they don't, not exactly a fraudulenting. We just wrote this in a LFAR. Now it is upon central statutory auditor whether to consider the means it as a fraud or this, because again branch auditor may have or may not have, because that is again a gray topic, that whether we can categorize it as a fraud or not, because it is a simply window dressing. So we just simply wrote this observation in the LFAR and highlighted it so that central statutory auditor can look about this. And maybe if he finds many such transactions from even further some parties which are not in our branch, then he can maybe make an observation on this or note of this. Okay, so these were something about the red flag identification. whichever Power Query can help. So it's almost 11:21. Okay, let me try to show you a few more things. Okay, so let us extend this. So I will remove this because I don't have multiple account statement, but I will insist you if you have multiple accounts statement, CC account statement, get it emailed and you can load it either into a separate Excel file by making copies of Excel file, or if you think that these 4 to 5 statement are of the related parties, just simply keep on making duplicates of this automation step using launch power creator, and you can have multiple account statement into a single Excel file using this. Okay, for now I will remove this because I want to advance it further. So we have, let us take next. So Lokesh sir, please let me know at what timing are we supposed to close out? Or Lokesh sir, are we having 15 minutes? Please let me know. Lokesh sir, can you hear me? Do we have sufficient time or we are required to close? Please let me know. Okay, I think I cannot see. So it is from 10 to 12. So I guess we have 15 minutes with us. So let us see into one more advanced technique of identification of interests. Okay, so let me clear out the filters. So let's say I want to even extend this automation and identify all the interest and penal charges from it. So one thing is for sure, for each bank, they always have certain keywords attached to for depicting the interest transaction or penal transaction. So let's say CC account interest, I will always be having at the month end. So let me check for the keywords and try to search for this keyword. So let me go to the end of the month. Okay, and I can see interest. Okay, so I can see interest coming on the debit side. int.col. So you can see this pattern. Let's see if this pattern repeats or not. int.col. So let me copy this pattern or keyword and the drop down, let me paste it and check if I get 12 transactions. Yes, I get every month interest transaction. Okay, this is a CC application of CC account interest at the end of every month. At the end of every month. So let's say I want to create one more automation step wherein I want to have interest transactions or check the interest application. So I want all these interest transactions segregated into another sheet. Okay, into another sheet. So let me demonstrate you that. So int.col, this is the pattern. So let me again click to get data, launch Power Query editor. Okay, I removed that another account statement from here. Now what I will do, since this transformation steps were performed very perfectly, so this appears very perfect. Now let me create a reference, or let's say I will create a reference from here. That means I will reutilize this transformation steps and start from here and identify something even more. So let's say I want to, using this transformation step as a starting point, I want to identify interest transactions and dump those transactions into a separate worksheet. So I will right click here and make a reference. So reference and duplicate is a different thing. Duplicate is a copy and paste, and reference means reuse of this CC account. So the last step of this CC account transformations is a first step for the copy of this. So I will say interest transactions. So I want to filter out interest transaction from here. And I want to check on what date this interest was applied. So I will tell PowerQuery that search for a word called int.coll. Okay. It should contain a keyword called int.coll. And let us click OK. Let's click OK. And I will remove this column. I don't require. And I will insert one more column called what is the month, means for which month this interest is for. So natural or sure, you will see the month somewhere here. So let me add one more column. Okay, add one more column, custom column called month name. Okay, called month name. Or maybe you can do this in even in Excel. Not necessary that you have to do in PowerQuery. Okay. Not necessary to do this in PowerQuery. Okay, these are my interest transactions. So let me click close and apply and dump it to another sheet. Okay, so these are all the interest transactions which were prepared from this. Okay, let me add one more column to this called month. So this interest was for which month? So there is a formula called text, function called text in Excel. So text can format this date, comma, and what should be written. So I want complete April or May written here. So I will say triple M, that means short month name. And please remember, notice that this formula automatically got, or function got automatically extended to all the cells. I will repeat it again. Let's say I create one more column called month. Please notice Excel has automatically added a column and filled it blank because this is a table derived using PowerQuery ETL. So it always runs with context called wherein there are no cells. So it is a floating table over and above our worksheet, which has always fixed number of rows which our PowerQuery told to load. So Excel has not complete control over this. PowerQuery has partial control over this, and it tell Excel that I will be applying automatically copy pasting this formula till the last. So please notice when I write formula here, something like this is equal to text. I cannot see a cell. Okay, I cannot see a cell reference like this, cell E5 or E something. Okay, notice this. When I click here, I can see a name of the table and field name. Okay, so this is a special table. So is equal to text. So from this date, kindly extract month name. So 3 times M, double quotes in, close the brackets. So automatically this formula was repeated for any number of rows which would come. Okay, any number of rows which would come. So we have monthly interest. Let's say I want to separate out the penal interest so that I can check from this if the penal interest was perfectly applied or not. Or so let me say, see inspection charges. So let's say you take the file of this borrower and you want to see that whether inspection charges were properly applied at the due interval or not. Okay. So let me even create an automation step of that so that if I have 10 or 20 CC account dumps, the steps gets recorded and automatically these sheets gets automatically generated when I make a copy of the Excel file. Okay, so let me again go to the PowerQuery editor. And I will say again, reference this or use as a starting point. And I want this as an inspection charges. Inspection charges. And I will say that in the narration, kindly search for some keywords called by name inspection. Now, let me tell you, our query is case sensitive. So inspection was in capital. Now the issue is that our query is always case sensitive. So you may have inspection written something like this. Sometimes inspection, or they may write inspection, or they may write it like this also. So let us convert this to lowercase. Okay, so I will perform one step wherein I will convert this to lowercase. So I will go to transform. Okay, transform format, and let's say that convert this to lowercase. So it has recorded this step. Okay, then now let us filter out all the rows which contains some keyword by name inspection, and just click OK. Okay, inspection charges applied only for Q3 and Q4. Okay, and so I can remove this deposit and balance column. I don't require this. So I will right click and remove this. And at what date? Inspection charges were levied. Okay, close and apply. Again, this sheet also automatically got generated. So just by browsing one CC account statement, inspection charges, and interest transaction, automatically these three sheets automatically were generated using ETL, PowerQuery ETL. Okay, so inspection charges also. So one thing again, you can see how can the inspection charges be levied on the same date. So later on we click on this file and we found that basically the branch staff forget to levy inspection charges. So in the Feb, he realized that, okay, he had forget the inspection charge. So basically this account was under quarterly inspection. Okay, quarterly inspection. And he even forgot for Q1 and Q2. So again, this is an revenue leakage, income leakage of amount of 2360. And again, one thing, the charges for Q3 should have been levied in the December, somewhere at the end of the December, but they levied it in the end of Feb. So again, loss of revenue in this, because 2 months CC account means interest was not compounded on that. Had this interest transaction have been on somewhere at the 31st December, then 2 months CC interest would have been accrued. So even that interest they had not calculated. So we again calculated 2 months interest, and this income leakage was put. So Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 was okay. Q4, I think he levied a bit ago. Instead of in the March, he levied it directly in Feb. Okay, that is okay. So again, revenue leakage you can detect using this. Let's check if it has any more transactions. Inspection charges. So let me check for withdrawal site for any more transactions, which I can check in the sanction terms. Okay, as such, no. Okay, remaining charges, I think you don't have to make this. Okay, insurance charges, then something like this, interest. Okay, so there is no limit for this. You can do this for any types of charges. You just have to enter the keywords for those charges, and then it would be automatically be picking up. So Power Query would be taking care of that. You just generate a CC account dump and keep on making copies of your Excel file borrower wise, and then browse that Finacle dump to it, Finacle or text dump to it, and all these sheets would automatically be generated. Reason, Excel will scan for Finacle dump for only once in this step. Okay, for only once in this step. Okay, then it would perform all this automation step and produce an output sheet called CC account, and then it will even reuse these steps, and from here it would even create two worksheets called interest transaction and inscription charges. So all this thing is automated. Okay, I think we have covered many of the techniques. So that's all for today. So I will now again hand over this session for Q&A. Any question answers if you have. So let me stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, sir. Yes, thank you, Dhananjay sir, for your energetic session. Definitely, it will help the members to gain up the knowledge. So there are few questions from the member side that in the bank, the volume of data is huge. Excel segregate all of that. How to apply formula? So I think the session is all about this only. That how to
yes,
apply.
sir. I will reply. I will say, sir, you apply formula, but you even create this transformation step into ETL, because this is even more. I found this even more powerful than formula, because actually Microsoft also tried experimenting Excel a lot, but after that one limit came. There they require, because Excel has a certain limit of handling the volumes. Like more than 10 lakhs, it cannot handle the rows. But Power Query has no limit. Even if there are more than 1 crore rows, it can handle and it can summarize and again dump it back to Excel.
There is a question that is the functioning of all banking software are same?
More or less same. The text dump file you will find in each and every bank. Now the maybe presentation of that account statement might differ. Like this was for one of the PSU bank. I will not name it. And even for CC account, the statement appeared a bit different than for current account. It appeared a bit different. But once I created transformation step for CC account, I could just browse different CC account and the account statement got imported. I created transformation steps for one of the current account, and then I reuse this file, keep on making copies of the Excel file and just browse the multiple current accounts. So yes, you can reuse this. Now you cannot cross apply to multiple banks, but yes, you can apply it for specific banks, specific type of statement. Yes.
Next one, Excel can be used as a tracker through Google Drive. How often it is being used?
I will add one more suggestion. So instead of Google Drive, you have a OneDrive. I will insist keep this file on a OneDrive. So I think I didn't demonstrate this. Sorry. So let me quickly demonstrate this. I think I forgot to cover this. Okay, so this file I actually kept on desktop, but when I go to bank audit, I don't keep this file here. I keep this file on my OneDrive. I simply copy it and paste this file over in my OneDrive. Okay, now this is a real-time file. So now if I open this file, this OneDrive file, not the desktop version file, OneDrive version of file. Let me open this OneDrive version of file.
So bye-bye.
Okay, now this is a cloud version file. And what I have done, I have mapped this OneDrive to all of my office computers, all of my office PC. So all my staff just see the same OneDrive personal drive, and all our files are actually shared across one another. So we just keep on dumping the files into common OneDrive, and those files are available to everyone. So I will insist that instead of Google Drive, you can also use OneDrive, or you can even use Google Drive software based. You will get a physical synchronized Google Drive. I think you get this Google Drive desktop. Yes, download Google Drive. You can even keep this to Google Drive. But one advantage of keeping this on OneDrive is that, let me show you. Let me show you that advantage, and you will simply love this. So I will log into my same OneDrive using a website called office.com, official Microsoft website. I will just click sign in. And I will just go to my OneDrive from here. Okay, so notice the file which I just uploaded is even available through browser. Okay, so I can open the same file now even through my browser, and this is a free version of Excel, and I can literally continue my working. Only downside is that the PowerQuery is not available here. Okay, the PowerQuery is yet to arrive here because Microsoft is currently making available PowerQuery in this online version of Excel. So that thing is in development. But let's say you have a PC where you don't have an Excel installed, or let's say you sit on bank's PC, you don't have laptop, or you're going outside and you forgot laptop. You can simply continue it from here. So even you can work from any of the PCs of the bank which is connected to the OneDrive. And these files are all yours. No one can see it. So Google Drive has a Google Sheet, and Google Sheet is not very friendly in opening Excel files. But OneDrive, since it is a Microsoft one, is where you can open your Excel files very easily. So I will insist that you shift to OneDrive, and it is available for free. 5 GB you get. I generally use paid one, but mostly I've seen people using one free version also. Any more questions?
So few questions are related to ICI. So I will say that CCMs are the right person who can say. So that's it, sir. Thank you very much for your session, and definitely it will help the member that how to use the Excel and how to use the Power Query during the bank audit. So thank you very much, Ranjay sir. Thank you.
Thank you, the BFSI committee, for this wonderful opportunity to share my this concept and knowledge with all of our CA fraternity. And I hope we have something new angle, and I hope all of you will now start using or try experimenting with this from henceforward. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Now we are just ending the session. Thank you.